What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for today. Not a very good day, but also not a very eventful day because it was Monday. There's just not that many sports going on, not that much League of Legends, not that much soccer. I think there was like one or two games. But yeah, ultimately, guys, you know that I'm going to come on here and show you guys the wins and the losses every single day. The biggest thing about yesterday was probably this pick. We did have a setup happening overnight with Valorant, and both these guys go over together, okay? So the strategy of this video, the strategy of this channel and my VIP is using correlation, okay? What does that mean? Just like how I explain every video in soccer where I take high possession teams, if they're going to have a lot of possession, I'm going to take guys over together. If I see that they're going to have less possession, then I'm going to take them under together. Why? Because soccer is full of passes, right? If you have a lot of possession, you're going to have a lot of passes as a team, and 2, 3, 10, 11 players are all going to have a lot of passes. And if you do not have much possession, that is not going to happen, okay? It's the same story in Valorant. It's the same story in League of Legends. If you look at this League of Legends game, this team got 0-2'd, so they got swept, so they lose both games. So as you lose both games in League of Legends, as you lose games, you're going to get less kills. That is how League of Legends correlation works. So it's a little bit different than soccer, but hopefully you guys understand that in a video game, for example, like League of Legends, if you lose the game, you're not going to do very well. You're going to get less stats than the other team that's going to beat you, right? In Valorant, it's very based off of game length, okay? So if a game goes an hour, 30 minutes, that's going to mean more kills for these guys because they're playing a longer match. If the game's only 30 minutes, 40 minutes, that's going to be a shorter match, so these guys are likely to go under, okay? This was a longer match right here, so these guys go over together instead of under together. I took them under together. I obviously would have liked to have taken them over together, and this would have been a four-man right here, but I didn't, and it is what it is, right? We pair up the two correlated plays, right? So for example, League of Legends and Valorant, so two correlated duos right here in two four-mans like this, and we try to get in 9x, 8.5x, a 10x from them. As you're going to see in this play or whatever it is, you're going to see soccer correlated duo right here. These guys play tonight, but obviously this play is the play's not going to hit because these guys in League of Legends go over together, okay? So right here in League of Legends, these guys end up winning their losing their game, so they go under. These guys end up winning their game, so they go over together, okay? So correlated, it's not going to hit all the time, guys. If you go back to yesterday, we had a couple of 3 out of 4s and stuff like that. So, you know, it's been past 2 days, kind of been a little bit rocky, but again, I'm not a day-to-day thinker, and you're going to see me say this all the time, okay? 1 day, 2 days, whatever it is, does not matter to me whatsoever, okay? And you got to prepare for that, right? If you go back just 3-4 days ago, I think it was like right here. Yeah, I think like 3 days ago, something like that. We hit an 8.5x and we hit a 3.75x all in 1 day, right? And we went up like a good number of units right here for this day, okay? All I care about is profiting long term. Here's the graph. I updated this about 5 minutes ago. We're up 221 units over the course of this entire year in 2026, which is incredible, okay? My goal before football season, I feel like we're kind of like a sleeping giant right now, waiting for football to happen. With that being said, there's still soccer, there's still Valorant, there's still League of Legends that literally goes on year round. But again, I am very excited for football season. It's got to be said. I'm doing a lot of research right now on these, especially college football. College football is so amazing for us every single year. And normally we go up about 300 units during football season. It sounds way too good to be true, but between now or between, you know, the first kickoff of these games to the playoffs, we go up normally about 250 to 300 units in this time frame. And again, we've done this 2 years in a row, okay? And it's using football correlation. So just as I used with soccer, Valorant, League of Legends, everything I explained, football is also very correlated, and you guys are going to see that over the course of this season when that does happen. This time is reminding me a lot of right before the World Cup. And the World Cup, I really prepared for the World Cup very well. And before the World Cup, I released actually a World Cup pass. I told you guys it's going to be a big World Cup for us. And we actually ended up, before the World Cup, we actually ended up kind of going down a little bit and having a little bit of a downturn before the World Cup. And some people might have not have joined or whatever, the VIP. But then in the World Cup, we went up like 115 units for the entire World Cup in the month that it was going on, the month and a half it was going on, because of all the preparation that I did before, okay? So don't be scared to go down 10 units, 15 units, whatever it is, all right? We're still pretty much at all-time highs, right? You guys see, this is pretty much the past like 20 days right here, right? We've had some ups and downs, you know, we've gone down a little bit, we went back up, we've gone down, we're gonna go up. And again, it doesn't matter about these day-to-day fluctuations, guys. A lot of times in the VIP, what you're gonna see is kind of a resting point like this, up and down, down, up and down. And then eventually we're going to hit a weekend, or we're going to hit a couple of days where we just spring up like this, okay? And you're going to see this over and over, where it's going to kind of be down, maybe we go down a little bit, and then we're going to spring back up, right? And this is how it just generally is on the VIP, and I say this quite a lot, right? And during these times right here, these areas that I'm circling, do not shake out, right? Don't get scared in these times, right? Because this does not matter. Going down a little bit right here just because some things are not hitting or whatever, this does not matter, you know? Even if you look at yesterday, you know, a little bit more eventful because it was a Sunday, but still not that eventful of a day. Sunday, Monday is always just not that eventful of a day until we get into football season. Then Sunday ends up being an eventful day. Monday is pretty much always not an eventful day. But if you look at Sunday, we had a lot of plays that could have hit, right? This one could have easily hit. This one could have easily hit. This one could have easily hit. This was opposite correlation. Obviously, this could have hit. And we could have had a big day, but we didn't, and it's okay, right? So that is kind of my theory of the VIP, right? Is don't think day to day. Guys, we play 3 to 4 man entries for a reason. They're not supposed to hit very often, but when they do, like you only see like 3 of them right here, right? So I'm not expecting to hit every 3. I'm expecting to hit every 7 of them, right? If we hit 1 in 7 of these at a 8x, 8.5x, or 9x mark, or 10x, of course, then we will profit long term pretty much, right? So again, we're not going to hit very many of these, but when we do, they're going to pay out very big, and that is the theory of the VIP. We also hit Dodgers and Royals to go over. I've been sending out some more straight bets. Gonna also hammer a lot of straight bets for the NFL season, of course, and college football season. So that's gonna be money line, spreads, over under. So if that's your thing, that'll also be included in the VIP. My goal is to get out about 3 of those a day, 3 straight bets a day, and then my goal for PrizePicks is to get out about, I would say, like 6 to 8 PrizePicks bets a day. Okay. Now, as we get into like a Friday when it's peak NFL and college football season, then it might be like 10 bets a day or 11 bets in that day. And then as we go into Monday, it might be like 4 or 5 bets a day. Okay. So every day is a little bit different, but of course, we like to put together strings of weeks and months instead of just strings of days, right? So to get into the VIP, guys, the best way to do so is with NOVIG or with KALSHI. NOVIG is going to be 2 months free of the VIP. Just text me right here to my number. I'll have you sign up for NOVIG. NOVIG is available nationwide. All you have to use is code detective and put $10 into NOVIG. Same thing with KALSHI. You put $10 in, and the only difference between KALSHI and NOVIG is you just have to take a $1 trade. So it can be on anything, right? You can actually bet on politics. You can bet on sports, of course. You can bet on the weather. Like, you can literally bet on anything on KALSHI, which is cool. And then you can, if you do trade, $25. So all I'm asking you to do is to put 10 in. But if you do want to do the $25 trade, first trade $25, you can get up to $500 in bonus bets on KALSHI. Okay, guys. So code detective on KALSHI. Again, I highly recommend that you text me so I can go ahead and get you that information, get you the code, get you the link, whatever it is, and you won't, mess anything up or anything. Because the worst thing possible is you mess something up. You don't put the code in wherever it needs to go, and then obviously I cannot get you those 2 months. All right. So let's get into the first pick of the day. As you guys know, on BETR, BETR's been a little bit rough too, right? If we go back to the graphs, which, I'm trying to move on to the plays, but if we go back to the graph, you guys see 2026 in BETR. And I really started focusing on BETR entries, like talking about it a lot in April. So April, June, July, now in August, we have consistently crushed BETR. But really over the past, I would say like 20, 25 days, we've kind of been on a little bit of a losing streak on BETR. But again, these are discounts at the end of the day, right? She's discounted down from 26.5 to 22.5. This is an amazing discount. 4-point discount is crazy, right? You might only get 4 points in, you get 4 points in 5-6 minutes of game time in the WNBA, right? This can definitely be the difference between hitting and missing. So these are discounts on BETR. And discounts, you pretty much have an edge long term, no matter what you say, right? With discounts like this, it is completely EV positive. You're expected to make money long term with these discounts. Does that mean you're going to make money every single time? No, right? We like to think about this as a poker player, right? If you're an advantage poker player, if you're really, really good at poker and you're playing against people that are worse than you, you're not going to win every hand. But over a long period of time, right, when you start getting into 10, 15, 20 hands, you're going to start winning against these people because you're just straight up the better poker player, okay? It's the same thing in sports betting. We have an edge against the sports books. If we bet 2, 3 entries, 5 entries, who knows if we're going to win and lose. But if we start getting into a lot of entries, right, if you look over my past 30 days graph, you're going to see that I bet 200 times in a month. Like I said, send out about 8 bets a day, so you can do the math there, and it does work out to that. All right, we're gonna take D-Leb as the second play here. He is in Valorant, so go to the Valorant tab on BETR and go ahead and lock in that pick right there. This is a 3x. Of course, you can also sign up for BETR. You get a free $10, and you get up to a $200 deposit bonus on your first deposit. So that means if you put $200 in, you'll get a free $200 on BETR. So you can technically make $200, or actually $210 with the free $10 just with BETR alone, just putting money into this app, okay? And all these states right here is where BETR is available. So go ahead and text me there, and I'll get you signed up for BETR as well, and you'll get 1 month of the VIP free. Okay, let's get into the next pick of the day here. We have Minnesota versus Atlanta. I think I talked about Atlanta in a couple of videos ago. Atlanta is a second division League MX team, and they just got bumped up to the first division. Okay, so they are one of the worst teams in League MX. They were good enough to get bumped up into the first division, but again, they were in the second division. I believe they've been in the second division for over 12 years. So now they are finally in the first division, and they're facing an MLS team, which is Minnesota United. Minnesota United just faced Tigres. Tigres are I would say like a top 5 to 7 team in League MX, and there's about like 20 teams in League MX. And both of these guys, I believe, versus the Tigres, this guy got 45 passes versus the Tigres, and then this guy I think got like I think I'm wrong about this number, but I think if I remember correctly, it was like 32 or something, but it was very close to hitting this line, right? At 35.5. So just think about that for a second, right? They faced the Tigres, right? And they had very close to these lines, right? They pretty much missed by like 1 pass, 2 passes, whatever it is. Now they're facing one of the worst teams in the league, and they're actually I believe bottom 2 in possession in League MX. And now their lines are really just like 1 to 2 passes higher than what they just got versus the Tigres. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, right? If you look at all of League MX, Tigres is like right here. Right, I'll put a T here, and these guys just barely did not hit their line, right? So they barely did not hit their line against the Tigres, and now they are facing Atlanta, and Atlanta is like fully at the bottom of the league right here, okay? Again, maybe they'll do better in these next couple of years, but they are a very new team to this division. They're bottom of the league, and again, this is expected for them, right? They're a second division team that just came up to League MX for the first time. So again, I think that these guys, Minnesota team, is going to have a lot of possession. Also, if you look at Atlanta and the teams that they have played recently, they played some other MLS teams, and they have got dominated in possession, right? A lot of the MLS teams are getting 65% possession against them, and just having the ball quite a lot. Again, everything that I just said doesn't matter as long as you know, or the main thing you do need to know is that this is extremely correlated together. And what does this mean? It means that if Minnesota United does end up having a lot of passes and they end up having a lot of possession. So let's say they have, 60% plus possession or something like that, right? If they end up having a lot of possession in this game, then both of these guys should go over together, okay? Because they're on the same team. So if you have a lot of possession, what are you going to have? You're going to have the ball a lot. When you have the ball a lot, what's going to happen in soccer? They're going to pass a lot, right? We've all watched a soccer game. We can all see that 99% of the soccer game is passing and passing and passing. Everyone loves to bet on goals and shots and all this stuff, but if you really watch a soccer game, 95% of the game is not that. It is just passing the ball, okay? So to be consistent, what we do is we bet on passing, and you can also correlate this, right? So if they do have a lot of passes, if they have a lot of possession, these guys should go over together. Now, if the opposite happens and this team surprises me and Minnesota ends up having a really bad game possession-wise, let's say they only have 40% possession, okay, instead of 60 like my other example, then these guys will probably go under together, okay? That's why you're going to see me sometimes take unders, because I think that this team is going to have less possession, okay? Second part of this entry is going to be an MLB hitter fantasy score over. We're going to take Tim Tewa to go over 3.5 fantasy score in tonight's game against the Rockies. Now, a couple of things about this entry, guys. I always say with these hitter fan scores, what do I want to see? I want to see a hot team. I want to see a hot hitter. And I want to see a player that normally does not have a really, really bad day at bat. So like an 0-4 day, an 0-5 day. That is not what we want to see. And again, is he the fullest green you've ever seen in your life? No, not necessarily, but there's a couple of things I like about this, right? He is consistently hitting the ball, right? So you have to go all the way back to the first of the month for him to not have any hit whatsoever, right? And he is consistently hitting the ball, getting at least one hit, run, RBI, or getting walked or whatever it is. And then he is now facing the Rockies, okay? And Rockies, one of the worst defenses in the league, if not the worst defense in the league. And on top of all this, the Diamondbacks have been quite quite hot, okay? Again, are they the hottest team in the league? No, but they have been quite hot as well, getting, some wins against the Dodgers. They just won 9-0 against the Rockies as well. And obviously against the Rockies, the last game he played, which was yesterday, he did get 5 hitter fantasy score. So I think 3.5 is way too low for him. I like it at 3.5. I like it at 4 as well. If it bumps up higher than 4, I do not like the prop anymore, okay? So if it bumps to 4.5, I don't like it anymore. So go ahead and take this. Another point of this is that his hits, runs, RBI line is at 1.5, okay? So PrizePicks is telling you that hits, runs, RBIs, his fair line is 1.5 for him, okay? And if you just look at the hit rate between these, like look at his hit run RBI at 1.5 versus fantasy score at 3.5, right? He's hitting his fantasy score a lot more because 1.5 hit run RBI is kind of high for him, honestly. So I'm taking his over on fantasy score. I do not like his hit run RBI. But again, PrizePicks is saying that he has a 50-50 shot pretty much of going and hitting only 1 hit run RBI or hitting 2. And if he hits 2 hit run RBI, we're definitely going to hit his fantasy score, but also he could get walked, he could hit a double, he could steal a base. All these things could happen where he would additionally go over and get more hitter fantasy score than just having 2 hit run RBI. So hopefully that makes sense. Main thing that I like here again is that he's been hot, he's seeing the ball well, and he just went Diamondbacks just 9-0'd the Rockies right here and had 9 runs, which is a good signal for them to go ahead and score a lot of runs tonight. Okay, so this is going to be the play of the day, guys. I showed you guys this yesterday. Obviously, yesterday's play did miss, but the last couple of picks on these videos, additionally, this was obviously yesterday's pick right here. It did miss, but we did hit a 2.5, and then we did miss this one by 1, and then we hit a 5X, which I believe was on maybe Friday, something like that. I'm kind of forgetting to get the days here, okay? So these are going to be the plays of the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.